G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Already Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play Helena by My Chemical Romance, which is one of my favourite tunes from the band. For the basics of this song, you'll just need your guitar in standard tuning and you won't need a capo. Now, all the tones that you hear in this lesson are recorded using the Boss Katana 100 Mark II. I'll leave a link to the tone patch in the description below if you want to check that out. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarsalreadyhero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you want to improve any guitar in general, then sign up to Guitars Already Hero Premium, which is my complete step-by-step guitar course. Alright, let's jump into the lesson. So I'm going to start by teaching you all of Ray Toro's guitar parts, and then I'll teach you Frank's guitar parts in the second half of this video, which is more of the lead guitar parts. Let's start with the intro. Now, for the tone, I've just got a clean amp sound, and I've got a little bit of chorus and some reverb on it. Now we're going to be doing a lot of alternate picking here. We're going to start on the 9th fret of the 6th string, and we're just going to be plucking this at 16th notes. So every bar will have its 16 plucks, and you're going to pluck that with a down up constant motion. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the other thing we'll need to do is actually palm mute this riff as well. So you take the fleshy bit of your palm, rest it lightly on the edge of the bridge whilst you're plucking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, if you're practicing this with a metronome, which I highly suggest, one little tip is to break up these notes into groups of 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And what you can do is slightly accent the 1, 2, 3 and 4 beat, just so you know where you are. So we're going to play that for 2 bars, and then we're going to go to the open string for 1 full bar, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then we're going to go up to the 7th fret of the 6th string for half a bar, so 2 groups of 4 notes, 1 and 2 and then down to the 4th fret for 2 groups of 4 notes, 3 and 4 and. So the first line of tab. Then for the second line of tab, we're going to go to the 5th fret with our middle finger here. And we're going to play this for a full bar, except the final note will be 4th fret. So you're going to just momentarily go down to the 4th fret. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then for the next bar, we go back to the 5th fret for 1 full bar. Then up to the 9th fret for 1 full bar. And then down to the 7th fret for 3 beats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. And at this point, we're going to change to our distortion channel, and we're going to play an E5 power chord, and we're going to palm mute this. So down, up, down, up. So just focus on the top 1 or 2 strings. So the final bar. 1 and 2 and 3. So that's it for the intro, which sounds like this. Now, one little tip I have when you're alternate picking, you want to get a little faster, is not to have your pick completely flat against the strings like that. If you tilt your pick at a slight angle, so about 20 degrees from the string, you'll be able to pick much faster. The pick will sort of just glide across the string as opposed to being flat, and you'll have a lot more resistance being flat like this. So next we get to the verse, and this is where things get really thrashy. There's going to be a lot of strumming here, and it's going to be pretty quick. If you tighten up your wrist and strum all from the elbow, you're going to get tired really fast. So just keep a loose wrist like this. We're going to start with the power chord. I'm going to play this with my index finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string, and then pinky finger on the 6th fret of the 4th string. And what you want to do is also ensure that your index finger is lightly touching all the other strings below it, so that when you strum all the strings, only your power chord will ring out. So I'm not barring down, I'm just lightly touching across all the other strings. And of course, fretting down that root note. And in order to mute the top 6th string, I also lightly touch that 6th string with my index finger. So that's our C#5 power chord. We're gonna strum this with a down, 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 pretty much a constant down up, except for that first strum where we just hold that out for a little bit more. So we're going to play that for 2 bars, and then we're going to slide our index finger up to the 7th fret of the 5th string. And at this point, you can let the 6th string ring out. Now again, it's really important to keep your index finger resting across all the other strings, so that even when you strum everything, only these 2 strings will ring out. We're going to strum this with a down, 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 down. And then we'll change to our next position with our ring finger on the 9th fret of the 5th string, and the same strumming pattern. And the bar in total. For the 4th bar, we're then going to go to a B5 power chord. So keep your ring finger where it is, put your index on the 7th fret of the 6th string. We're going to strum this for that same half bar. And then we'll slide this complete shape down to the G sharp at 4th and 6th frets with the same strumming pattern. So that's the first line of tab, which sounds like this. For the second line of tab, we'll shift this shape up 1 fret, so we're now at an A5, but we'll also release our ring finger, and we'll use our pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string here. So this is actually an A octave shape, and you want to keep that 5th string in between these 2 notes muted. And again, we can easily do that by lightly resting our index finger across all the other strings below that root note. So we're going to strum this up until the end beat on the 4, where we just slightly move down 1 fret to the G sharp octave. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll shift our shape back up, and we're going to play this for a full bar. Then for the 3rd bar, we'll go back up to our C sharp 5 for 1 full bar. And then we'll shift the shape down to a B5. And then we'll strum this for 3 beats. So 1, 2, 3. And at this point, we'll just play an E5 power chord, and then we're just going to play a palm muted down, up, down, up. Just focus on the top 1 or 2 strings. So that final bar, 1, 2, 4, and that's it for the verse, which sounds like this. That is obviously at a much slower speed than the actual recording though, so I recommend when you're practicing this, play it at a slow speed. You can start at something like 90 BPM on a metronome and work your way up as you get faster and faster. This song's at about 120 to 125 BPM. Next we get to the pre-chorus, and there's 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with this shape. It looks like this. So index finger on the 4th fret of the 6th string, pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 5th. And again, always keep that index finger muting the other strings. So this is somewhat an E/G sharp. We're going to strum this for a full long strumming pattern. So, and then we'll slide this index finger up 1 fret. So this is a A5 power chord, and strum this for 1 bar. Then we'll shift our index finger up to the 9th fret of the 6th string. Ring finger will now come down onto the 11th fret of the 5th string. So we're going to strum this for half a bar. So 1, 2, and then for our next shape, just put your pinky finger onto the 12th fret of the 5th string, and we'll strum that for half a bar. 3, 4. So that bar. And then we'll shift this power chord down to the B, So we're going to play this for half a bar. And then you'll take your pinky finger and reach it up to the 11th fret. And we're going to play this for half a bar. And that's it for the first line of tab. Now the second line of tab is almost the same, except for the last shape that we had. So this stretchy shape, we're just going to strum this with a down, down, but then we're going to go down to our E5 and palm mute this with a down, down. So the final bar here. And the pre-chorus in total. Next we get to chorus number 1, and we'll continue on with our E5 power chord, so it's just the 6th and 5th strings. And again, make sure none of those other strings ring out with your index finger lightly touching all of them. For the first bar, we're going to strum this with just one really powerful strum there, hold that out for a beat, and then on the 2 beat continue with 3 more strums, and then on the 4 beat 2 more strums. We're now strumming at all down strums as well, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll continue on with another full bar, just continuously at 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll go up to our B power chord like this. We're gonna strum this once, hold it out for a full beat, and then continue on with 8th notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll shift our index finger up 1 fret to the 8th fret. Middle finger will go on the 9th fret of the 5th string. So we're going to strum this once, and then with your pinky finger go up to the 12th fret. And keep your index finger on the 8th fret. We're going to strum this 3 times, and then back down to our original shape 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the first line of tab, which sounds like this. Then for the second line of tab, we go up to our C sharp power chord like this, 9th and 11th fret. We're going to start with 1 strum, hold it out for 1 beat, and then continue on with 8th notes for the next 2 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll slide our index finger down 1 fret to the 8th fret. Pinky finger comes up to the 12th fret of the 5th string. We're going to strum this for half a bar. So 1, 2. Then slide our pinky finger down 1 fret to the 11th fret and finish the rest of this bar, 3, 4, and then for the next full bar as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. At this point, there's a short break, and we're going to switch to a completely clean guitar tone. We'll bar our ring finger across the 9th frets of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. Or you can use your index as well, but I just like using my ring here. And we're going to pluck the 4th string, 2nd, 4th, and 3rd. So 1 and 2 and when you're plucking this, I like to pluck with the down pluck on the 4th string, and the 2nd and 3rd strings are with an up pluck. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that's it for chorus 1, which sounds like this. So that's it for chorus 1. Now, the second verse and second pre-chorus are identical to the first verse and pre-chorus, so nothing new to learn there. We get to chorus number 2, which is similar to chorus 1, there's just a few minor changes. The first 2 lines of tab are basically identical to chorus 1, except we cut out that very last bar, so that little clean break is no longer there. And then the 3rd and the 4th line of tab is basically the same as the 1st and 2nd line of tab, except at the very end, we just end with an E5 power chord and let that ring out for 2 full bars. So Really nothing new to learn here in chorus 2. We've basically covered it in chorus 1. Next we get to the bridge, which is quite simple. There's 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to return back to our alternate picking at 16th notes and palm muted as well. So back to our clean channel with a little bit of chorus. We're going to start with our 9th fret here of the 6th string, and we're going to just pluck this for 1 full bar at 16th notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Then down to the 5th fret for 1 full bar, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And then up to the 7th fret for 2 full bars, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2, 3, 4 E. So that's the first line of tab, really nice and simple, and that's repeated through 3 times. Now for the second line of tab, our first 2 bars are the same, so the 9th fret and then 5th fret. But then when we get to the 3rd bar, we're going to play both the 7th frets of the 6th and 5th strings. And the guitar tone changes to distorted guitar now. And we're going to continue palm muting this and just focusing on those top 2 strings. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. And then for the final bar, just lift your ring finger and put your index finger down that 6th fret of the 5th string. And we're going to palm mute this. So the final line of tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get to chorus 3, which is basically the same as chorus 2, except we don't end with that E5 power chord. We're going to just jump straight into the outro, which is quite simple. So the outro is just the same as the first line of tab in the intro. So we've already basically learnt that, and when we end the song by just hitting the 5th fret. So the outro. And those are all of Ray Toro's guitar parts. Now I'm going to teach you how to play all of Frank's guitar parts, which cover most of the lead guitar in this song. So let's start with the intro, and this is 4 lines of tab. So we're going to start at the 14th fret of the 4th string here. And similar to Ray's guitar part, we're just going to be constantly plucking at 16th notes with a down up motion. Like that for a full bar here. The only difference here is that we don't palm mute, so don't make contact with your palm on the edge of the bridge. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Again, one tip when you're practicing this along with the metronome is to group things into 4 notes. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Accenting that beat will just help you keep track of where you are. For the next bar, we go down to the 11th fret for a full bar at 16th notes. For the second line tab, we go back up to the 13th fret for 1 full bar. And then we go down to the 9th fret for half a bar, and then up to the 11th fret for 1 beat, so 4 plucks, and then up to the 13th fret for 4 notes. So this bar in total, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. The third line of tab is the same as the first line of tab, so the 14th fret for 1 full bar and the 11th fret for 1 full bar. And then for the 4th line of tab, we go down to the 9th fret for half a bar, so 1 E and a 2 E and a. Then up to the 11th for half a bar, 3 E and a 4 E and a. And then up to the 13th fret for 3 beats, so 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. And then we're gonna switch to our distorted tone quickly, and then go to our E5 power chord like this. And at this point, we'll palm mute, and we're going to play a down, up, down, up. So palm mute. Take the fleshy bit of your palm, put it lightly on the edge of the bridge, and focus on the top 1 or 2 strings. So that's it for the intro, which sounds like this. Alright, so now we get into the verse. We're going to start with a C-sharp 5 power chord here up at 9th and 11th frets. What you'll do with your index finger is lightly rest it across all the other strings, so that even when you strum all the strings, only that 9th and 11th frets will bring out of the 6th and 5th strings. We're going to strum this with the same pattern that we had for Ray Toro's guitar part, so down, 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 down. So just that first down strum is held a little longer than the others, and everything else is at 16th notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The next bar is identical, and then what we're going to do is slide our index finger down to the 4th fret of the 5th string, and we're just going to focus on strumming the 6th and 5th strings. Be sure to keep that index finger touching all the other strings so nothing else rings out other than the 6th and 5th strings. So one full strumming pattern here. Then slide this index finger up to the 6th fret, put your middle finger onto the 7th fret. We're going to strum this for half a bar, so 1, 2. Then we're going to shift to this shape, so index on the 4th fret of the 6th and pinky on the 7th fret of the 5th. Strum this for half a bar. So the final bar. And then return back to the shape that we had at 7th and 6th, but we play that at 5th and 4th frets. We're going to strum this for a full bar. And then we'll take your ring finger and put it on the 6th fret of the 5th string, keeping your middle finger where it is. And we're going to strum this for a full bar. And remember that first down strum is held out a little longer, and then everything else is at 16th notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to shift our ring finger up to the 9th fret and index finger up to the 7th fret of the 5th string. And we're going to play this for one full bar. And then shift your ring finger down to the 7th fret, pinky goes onto the 7th fret of the 5th string. And to mute all these other strings, just lightly touch them with your index finger. So that's it for the verse, which sounds like this in total. That's obviously at a much slower speed than the recording, so be sure to practice along with the metronome at a slower speed. I'd suggest starting at 80 or 90 and then work your way up. Next we have the pre-chorus, which is pretty simple. We're going to start with an E octave like this. So index finger on the 7th fret, pinky finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. What we're also going to do is mute every other string so that the 5th and 3rd strings are the only ones that ring out. So you can mute that 6th string by lightly touching it with the top of your index finger here, and then rest your index finger across all the other strings. So that will mean that 5th and 3rd are the only ones that ring out. So we're going to strum this with a down, down, up, down, up, down. And then we'll shift this up to the 9th fret with the same strumming pattern. So the first bar. So 2 octaves there. That bar is repeated through 3 times. And for the 4th bar, we're just going to change our octaves. So we'll start at the 6th fret octave and then move up 1 fret. So that's it for the first line of tab. The second line of tab is basically identical, except we're going to just change this final octave a tiny bit. So we're going to strum this with a down, down, up, and then lift all your fingers. Make sure they're touching all the strings though, and then finish with just a muted down, up, down. So that's it for the pre-chorus, which sounds like this. Okay, next we get to the chorus and there's 2 lines of tab. So we're just going to remain on this E octave and we're going to strum this once, hold out for a full beat, and then strum it 3 more times on the 2 and 3 and then on the 4 and beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the next bar, we're going to strum this once and then move up to the 9th and 11th fret. So 1 and 2 and then we're going to hit this and slide up to the 11th fret octave. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the 3rd bar, we'll move back down to our 9th fret octave. We'll strum this once and hold out for a beat. and then the rest of the bar is just eighth notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And for pretty much everything here, I'm just strumming with downstrokes. And for the fourth bar, we strum this octave once, move up to the 11th fret, hit that, hold it out, and then we're going to hit this octave one more time, but then slide up to the 14th fret octave, and then move back down to the 12th fret octave and strum that on the 4 beat. So in the first line of tab. For the second line of tab, we move this octave down 1 fret, so 11th fret octave. We're gonna start with strumming this once and then at 8th notes until the end beat after the 4, where we'll move up to the 12th fret octave. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and hold that out. And then for this next bar, move down to the 11th fret octave, hit that, hold it out for a beat, and then hit it 2 more times, and then down to the 7th fret octave. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So from the first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we'll move up to the 9th fret octave, hit this once, and then hit another 3 times, and then down to the 7th fret octave. So that bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then down to the 6th fret octave, hold that out for 2 beats, and down to the 2nd fret octave, hold that out for 2 beats. Then there's a short break where you'll play nothing, and on the 4 beat, we'll then play that E5 power chord with the muted down up, down up, which will take us into verse 2. So that's it for chorus 1, which sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. So that's it for chorus 1. Now verse 2 and pre-chorus 2 are identical to verse 1 and pre-chorus 1, so nothing new to learn there. When we get to chorus 2, it's very similar to chorus 1, except we cut out that final bar in chorus 1, and there's a slight change in this 4th bar in the 2nd line of tab. Instead of hitting this 6th fret octave just once and holding out for 2 beats, we're just going to strum this with 4 8th note strums, so 1, 2, and then we'll go down to the 2nd fret octave, hit it, and slide it up to 4th fret, and back down to the 2nd fret octave. So this final bar of the 2nd line of tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 3rd and the 4th line of tab are almost identical to the 1st and 2nd line of tab, with the exception of the final bar here. So instead of going down to the 6th fret octave, we're going to go up to the 11th fret octave, and then down to the 9th fret octave, hold that out for 2 beats, and then end on the 7th fret octave, and then hold that out for 2 bars. So from the 3rd bar in this 4th line of tab, but pretty much everything is identical to the 1st and 2nd line of tab, and chorus 2 in total. Okay, so next we get to the bridge, which is just a whole lot of octaves strummed at 8th notes. We're going to return to our intro tone, so it's just a clean channel with some reverb. And we're going to just play a whole bunch of octaves at 16th notes. So again, you just need to prepare your strumming hand here and make sure it's nice and loose. So we'll start with this 7th fret octave, and we'll strum this for a full bar at 16th notes. So down to the 6th fret octave for 2 groups of 4 notes. So 1, 2, then up 1 fret for 1 group of 4 notes, and then up 2 frets for 1 group of 4 notes. So this bar. Then up to the 11th fret octave for 1 full bar, and then back down to the 9th fret octave for 1 full bar. The second line of tab is almost identical except for this 4th bar. So for the 4th bar, we have this 9th fret octave for 2 beats, and then up to the 11th for 1 beat, and then up to the 12th for 1 beat. So the final bar of the second line of tab. For the third line of tab, we're going to go up to this 14th fret octave for 1 full bar, then down to the 12th for half a bar, and then down to the 11th for half a bar. And then for the third bar, we're going to go down to the 9th fret octave for 3 beats. So 3 groups of 4 notes. 1, and 2, and 3, and then down to the 7th for 1 beat. So this third bar. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then back up to the 11th fret for half a bar, and then down to the 9th for half a bar. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and so the third line of tab in total. For the 4th line of tab, we go back to this 7th fret octave for 1 full bar. For the second bar, we go down 1 fret for half a bar and back up to the 7th fret octave for half a bar. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then up to the 9th fret octave for 3 beats, and then back down to the 7th fret octave for 1 beat. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and at this point, we'll switch back to our distorted tone. We're going to hit our 6th fret octave, slide up 1 fret, and do that again. So, and then up to the 9th fret octave, hit that and slide down 2 frets, and then end on the 6th fret octave. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's it for the bridge in total, which is just all octaves. Now remember, when you're strumming this, just think about groups of 4. So each down, up is 1 beat, or a group of 4 notes. And in 1 full bar, you have 4 of them. And in some bars, you won't play 1 octave for the full bar. You might change on the 3rd beat or the 4th beat. Just think about this in groups of 4. Next we get to chorus 3. Now the first 2 lines of tab are the same as chorus 2. When we get to the 3rd line of tab, things change a little bit. So we're going to go to this E octave, we're going to hit it and slide up to the 9th fret octave, and then strum this another 3 times. And then down to the 7th fret octave 3 times. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. For the next bar, it's essentially the same thing, except instead of going down to the 7th fret octave, we go up to the 11th fret octave. The 3rd bar is the same as the 1st bar, and then for the 4th bar, we start with the same slide up, strum once, then back down to the 7th fret, and then 11th fret octave, 12th fret octave, and down to the 11th fret octave. So the final bar. And the 3rd line of tab. For the 4th line tab, we'll go up to the 14th fret octave, strum this 4 times, then down to the 12th 4 times, then down to the 11th 5 times, and then down the 7th fret octave, strum that, hold it out, and then up to the 9th fret octave, strum this 6 times, down to the 7th fret octave, and then the 11th, down to 9th, and then end on the E octave. We hold that E octave out for quite some time, and then we're then going to just end the song with an E5 power chord like that. I'm going to play from the 3rd line of tab onwards because that 1st and 2nd line tab is similar to what we had in the previous choruses. So. And those are all of Frank's guitar parts, or all the lead guitar parts. So now I'm going to do 2 playthroughs of this song. The first playthrough will be Ray's parts, and then the second playthrough will be all of Frank's guitar parts. A big thanks to my friend Tugler for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.